Tonight, CBC News is inside Syria after rebels toppled the Assad regime. Hope and fear at a notorious prison near Damascus as families search for any sign of loved ones taken during Assad's brutal reign.
As an insult to the intelligence of the American people.
A dramatic court appearance for the man accused of assassinating a health insurance CEO.
This is one of the last people you'd think would do something like this.
We break down how Luigi Mangione went from a life of privilege to prime suspect in a high-profile murder. And armed intruders broke into his Ontario home, but when he tried to call 911, he was put on hold 3 times.
It was kind of the most desperate, helpless feeling I've ever had.
The challenges facing call centers across the country.
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
Thanks for joining us. The situation in Syria is changing by the hour, and tonight CBC News is right there, the only team from Canada inside Damascus after the sudden fall of the Assad regime. They raced across the border from Lebanon as things developed on multiple fronts. Politically, the rebels have named a temporary prime minister. Economically, there's a renewed vibrancy on many city streets. Some optimism there, but militarily, there is uncertainty. Israel has fired hundreds of strikes at assets it says could pose a threat, including the destruction of Syrian naval ships. And Turkey continues to take aim at Kurdish targets closer to its border. So this all just days after Bashar al-Assad, ousted from power, escaped to Russia. Tonight, senior international correspondent Margaret Evans has her initial reporting from the prison used by a malign regime to crush dissent and the spirit of a nation.
On the grounds of Syria's most notorious prison, Saydnaya, names read out to a crowd desperate to hear the one they long for and fearing it at the same time. A list of known inmates jailed here in 2012. 3 days after Syria's victorious opposition rebels cast open prison doors here, throngs of Syrians are still arriving at the prison, hoping for news of loved ones who long ago disappeared into its bowels. 7, says this woman, 7. 3 of my kids, my brother and his son, and my 2 brothers-in-law. We don't have any idea where they are. It's not possible to walk through these crowds with a camera without people wanting to show pictures of Syria's disappeared.
I am very, very, very tired.
Hosni Korno shows us the birth certificates of his 4 sons, imprisoned here in 2012. He hasn't seen them since. This man is looking for his brother. He traveled 1,000 kilometers to get here.
Syria was already a police state when Bashar al-Assad inherited power from his father, and when the opposition rose up against him in 2011, the prison system became one of his most brutal tools of repression.
A report by Amnesty International in 2017 called Saydnaya a human slaughterhouse, documenting rape, torture, and executions. Syria's new rebel leaders have pledged to hunt down the jailers and the torturers and hold them accountable. This opposition fighter has a list of prison staff tucked under his arm. We want to give them to our leader, says Abu Saif al-Din. We prefer them to be taken for consideration at the International Court. But the lists people are after are the ones they scour for hours, looking for a scribbled mention, a glimpse that their person was there. Even though rescue teams have declared there are no more secret cells to be found, that all those prisoners living have been released, people are still coming. As long as hope lives, so do their loved ones. Margaret Evans, CBC News, Damascus.
To the U.S. now, where the man accused of murdering a healthcare CEO in Manhattan, then fleeing the state, is fighting attempts to send him back to New York. Chris Reyes now on the case against Luigi Mangione and the new information about his past.
Completely out of touch and an insult to the intelligence of the American people.
Luigi Mangione struggled to get a message out before being taken into a Pennsylvania courthouse for his extradition hearing. He came out calmer even as he was denied bail. Mangione is contesting an extradition order to send him to New York to face 5 charges, including second-degree murder for gunning down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson on a sidewalk in Midtown Manhattan.
Where do I go? I guess
Mangione's lawyer said his client plans to plead not guilty to that and the weapons charges he's facing in Pennsylvania.
I haven't seen any evidence that says that he's the shooter.
But prosecutors disagree. When he was arrested Monday at a McDonald's, he had a gun, a silencer, and a 3-page manifesto criticizing the healthcare industry, writing these parasites had it coming. This image of an angry young man railing against the system is baffling to those who knew Mangione, an Ivy League graduate from a wealthy Baltimore family who was also the high school valedictorian.
The class of 2016 has been coming up with new ideas and challenging the world around it.
I can tell you that this is one of the last people you'd think would do something like this. You know, he was one of the nicest kids, most friendly kids that I had known at Gilman.
Some hints of trouble in Mangione's life. He stopped communicating with family about 6 months ago and was dealing with back issues. That he shared with a recent roommate in Hawaii.
I knew he was going to have a surgery, so earlier this year I checked in with him. He confirmed that he had had surgery, and he sent me the x-rays. It looked heinous with just giant screws going into his spine.
These are the latest photos released of Mangione, including one moments before his arrest in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Maybe not the man his friends knew, but exactly who police were looking for.
Just from what we saw in the media with photos, videos, we just didn't even think twice about it. We knew that was our guy.
Mangione now has 2 weeks to contest his extradition, and a judge will decide if and when he'll be sent back to New York.
And Chris, as his case is playing out, there's still signs Mangione is gaining public support.
Absolutely. I mean, he's got a lot of defenders online. The McDonald's where he was arrested had to shut down their social media because they were flooded with bad reviews and accusations of snitching. And that's really put corporate America on high alert. Some threatening posters have been found right here in New York, including at the stock exchange, targeting other executives. In Chicago, a few businesses were hit by vandals, threatening their CEOs. Police in Colorado sent out a warning to businesses about similar threats, and that's prompted a few big companies like Blue Shield and CVS Health to take down information on their leadership altogether.
All right, Chris Reyes in New York. So how did Luigi Mangione end up behind bars, now an accused killer? Ellen Morrow breaks down more of what we know about his privileged past. That's coming up in about 20 minutes. Well, Donald Trump is once again taunting the Canadian government, this time mocking the Prime Minister, calling him the governor of the great state of Canada. Ashley Burke now with how that's landing on Parliament Hill.
After Donald Trump made a late-night jab at the Prime Minister,
calling him the governor of the great state of Canada,
the immigration minister compared it to an American cartoon famous for blaming Canada.
It sounds like we're living in an episode of South Park.
Around midnight, Donald Trump posted it was a pleasure to have dinner the other night with Governor Justin Trudeau of the great state of Canada, and said he looks forward to continuing our in-depth talks on tariffs and trade, the results of which will be truly spectacular for all.
I'm sure not thinking of Justin Trudeau at midnight, so if he's thinking of Justin at midnight, it's probably a good relationship.
A positive spin after Trump's repeated taunts. At this Mar-a-Lago dinner last month, Trump reportedly joked about Canada becoming America's 51st state. Days later, he posted this AI-generated image, teasing about a Canadian takeover.
We're subsidizing Canada.
Then on Sunday, Trump leaned in on NBC about what he sees as an unfair trade deficit with Canada.
If we're going to subsidize them, let it become a state.
Clearly, he's joking. We're a sovereign nation.
There's always a WWF quality to what the president, how he acts and responds.
Trump's latest quip comes after Trudeau warned Canada will respond to Trump's potentially devastating tariff threat.
We will, of course, as we did 8 years ago, respond to unfair tariffs.
Sources say the government is considering a $1 billion border plan and possible retaliation.
Could be retaliatory tariffs. What's on the table? We're doing that work right now, and we will have more to say in due course. Mr. Bulleris, what do you think?
But some question Trudeau's ability to manage Trump.
We can see right now that President Trump doesn't respect Mr. Trudeau, and it worries me.
I don't think Mr. Trudeau's handling the domestic political situation well. I have less confidence he'll be able to do it international.
Trudeau is expected to speak to premiers about the U.S. threats on Wednesday, and those premiers want to see a plan.
And so, Ashley, what are you hearing will happen during that virtual meeting?
Well, Adrian, this is the second meeting between Trudeau and premiers in recent weeks, ever since Trump said he'd impose a 25% tariff on all Canadian imports to try and force a crackdown on illegal immigration and drug smuggling. A senior government source told CBC News premiers will get some high-level details about the government's new plan for the border.
All right, the CBC's Ashley Burke in Ottawa. In Vancouver, a man who allegedly sucker punched a passerby is facing assault charges in 2 more random attacks. So this is the moment Zachary Shettle is accused of punching someone in the face on a downtown street. He's since been charged in 2 other physical assaults that happened a few days before. Police believe he did not know any of the victims. And a Canadian woman is facing charges after New Zealand customs agents found some 10 kilograms of methamphetamine disguised as Christmas presents. The drugs were found in her carry-on after a flight from Vancouver to Auckland. New Zealand's border agency calls it a classic attempt by organized crime to exploit the busy travel season. An Ontario man is speaking out tonight about living through a terrifying home invasion with his young children. When he called 911 for help, he was put on hold 3 times. Farah Morali now with his story and why advocates say this is part of a larger Canada-wide issue.
The frantic moments, not long after an armed group allegedly broke into Theo Meadows' Orangeville house.
So he stuck the gun at me through this hole here.
That night, as the armed intruders smashed his window, he called for help.
That was when I called 911 for the first time. And as soon as I put the call through, I got a response, like a please hold. It was like a pre-recorded, like, ringtone sort of thing.
Meadows says he tried calling 911 twice more while the intruders were still in his home. Each time, he says, the same hold message. The scariest part, he says, was when his 5-year-old heard the commotion.
As I'm telling them where they can go to the closet to find anything valuable, my 5-year-old daughter opens her door, and she comes out of her room in her nightgown, just like rubbing her eyes. And this guy takes the gun off of me and puts the gun right up to her head. It was kind of the most desperate, helpless feeling I've ever had.
And the guy was standing right about here.
Meadows says it wasn't until his 4th 911 call, after the group had left, that someone answered.
Emergency?
CBC News has reported extensively on 911 wait times in the city of Toronto. Where Meadows lives is patrolled by Ontario Provincial Police, where 911 calls go to 4 call centres province-wide.
In a statement, the OPP said it couldn't comment on this case as it's an active investigation. When it comes to call centre staffing, it also wouldn't say anything, citing officer and public safety purposes.
But it maintains that of the more than 1 million 911 calls it received last year, 75% were answered within 14 seconds. This advocate says 911 call center staffing remains a problem countrywide.
Public safety communications is having similar problems to most other industries in Canada in that it's difficult to find staff.
Meadows says he's sharing his story to push for changes to the service.
All I know is that on the worst day of my life, it didn't work at all.
A situation he hopes will never happen again. Farah Morali, CBC News, Toronto.
A historic moment in Israel as Benjamin Netanyahu took the stand in his defense at his corruption trial, forcefully denying any wrongdoing. Tom Perry is in Jerusalem tonight and shows us how the case is dividing a country at war.
A deep divide in Israeli politics on full display. 2 competing protests outside Tel Aviv's courthouse on a historic day. The first time a sitting Israeli prime minister has been called to testify in his own defense at a criminal trial.
Nobody is above the law. Nobody. And if you do something wrong, you need to pay for it.
Benjamin Netanyahu's opponents demanding justice, his supporters questioning the trial itself.
We're in war, and the Prime Minister of Israel, whoever he is, shouldn't be subjected to 3 times a week, 6 hours a day testimony on something that has been mostly debunked.
Inside the courthouse, Netanyahu arrived to make his case. He faces charges of fraud, bribery, and breach of trust over allegations he accepted expensive gifts, including champagne and cigars, in exchange for political favors, and that he offered Israeli media moguls favorable policies in exchange for positive news coverage of his government. Netanyahu dismisses all of it as ridiculous and absurd. Gail Talshir has been watching this case from the start and says Netanyahu has long argued he's the victim of a biased justice system and left-wing media.
Netanyahu thinks that this trial is actually puts in danger not only his political survival, but also his political legacy, and therefore is going to fight as if his life depends on it.
Netanyahu fought hard to delay this testimony and pushed it back months because of the war in Gaza. The Israeli Prime Minister has now finally faced his first day in court, with many more to come. Tom Perry, CBC News, Jerusalem.
British-Canadian computer scientist Geoffrey Hinton received his Nobel Prize in Physics at a ceremony in Stockholm today. Known as the godfather of AI, he used physics to help establish some building blocks of machine learning. He said the prize is the result of sticking with an idea for over 50 years. At the University of Toronto, where Hinton formerly taught, faculty and students gathered to watch him receive the prestigious award. Well, firefighters are battling scorching flames and high winds tonight as a fast-moving fire threatens communities in Southern California.
I woke up and she was yelling that we need to get out of here, and across the canyon, the flames were just crazy.
How Canadian resources are helping fight the blaze, next. Plus, in the middle of the housing crisis, allegations of price fixing in the rental market, and now tenants are fighting back.
I think every single landlord who has been using it should be held accountable.
A CBC News investigation into the controversial AI software. And later, a PEI principal stood up for his school, and now it is standing up for him.
I love coming to work every day. That's really what education is all about.
We're back in 2. Alberta's severe summer hailstorm has made a list of the top 10 weather stories of this year. The storm is the second costliest event for insured losses in Canadian history. Environment Canada selected and ranked events based on severity, cost, and longevity as a top news story. Southern Ontario flooding also made that list, and at number 1 was the Jasper wildfire. 1/3 of the town was destroyed, plus a big portion of the national park. Well, firefighters in Southern California are trying to prevent further damage from a fast-moving wildfire. High winds near the city of Malibu are making conditions worse. Aaron Collins shows us the danger and destruction.
Fire burning so hot, it looks like lava. Those tasked with fighting it looking on. California's wildfire season peaking all around them. Nearly 20,000 residents of the affluent hills around Malibu forced from their homes.
I woke up and she was yelling that we need to get out of here, and across the canyon, the flames were just crazy. So we gathered our pets, our essentials, and living here for 19 years, you have a plan.
Many areas around Malibu surrounded by flames overnight. Students at nearby Pepperdine University forced to shelter in place.
We're supposed to go to the cafeteria, but we just decided to get off campus because we didn't want to risk anything.
It's burning over the bluff.
This year's fire season has already been a tough one in the state. The number of fires and the acres burnt both above the 5-year average, according to CAL FIRE.
If you need a little bit more time to evacuate, now is the time.
And it's not over yet. Firefighters struggling to get a handle on the latest fire to cause chaos in California. Canada playing its part.
You'll see that our CO415 Super Scoopers that we lease from the province of Quebec are out there dropping, and we're going to have a coordinated ground and air assault. We'd really like to button this fire up and get some containment by this afternoon.
This fire, like most that roar through California this time of year, fanned by the powerful Santa Ana winds. Where it goes from here will in large part be determined by where those winds blow. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Calgary.
Nearly 4 weeks into the strike, there is no end in sight to the dispute keeping postal workers off the job.
My package was delivered to this very postal location. It's devastating at this point.
How some are left in limbo, waiting for essential documents. Plus, a proposed class action lawsuit takes aim at some Canadian landlords.
If these allegations are proven in court, it's absolutely horrendous conduct.
The CBC News investigation into alleged price fixing. And the unlikely path of an alleged killer.
I can tell you that this is one of the last people you'd think would do something like this.
Ellen Morrow walks us through what we know and what we don't know about Luigi Mangione. The National takes you deeper into the stories shaping your world. Next.
Watch the clock! Here she comes! Here's the touch! She's done it!
A new world record and a first ever gold for Canada's Summer McIntosh in the 400-meter freestyle at the World Aquatics Championship in Hungary. Her winning time over a second faster than the previous mark.
To start it off with a world record is always nice. So this is my first big meet after the Olympics. So going into this, I was super excited to try to set the tone for the next quad.
Beyond the pool, McIntosh also picked up the 2024 Northern Star Award given to Canada's Athlete of the Year in recognition of her historic triple gold at the Paris Olympics. Well, the two sides in the Canada Post strike appear further apart than ever, with the company saying the most recent offer by the union takes major steps backwards. And as Alexander Silberman shows us, that is cause for concern for those whose essential documents are now caught in the middle.
My package was delivered to this very postal location.
Yi-Ching Huang tracked her passport to this shuttered Toronto post office. It's stuck inside with no way to get it. And a trip for her wedding reception is just weeks away.
It's devastating at this point.
Huang is a permanent resident with a Chinese passport that contains visas that are challenging to replace. And there's no resolution in sight after the latest proposal by the union, delivered Monday, was described as a setback by Canada Post.
I feel sorry for the workers. They have to go on strike at this point of the year, but then it's also very frustrating for people like us waiting for important documents.
While Huang is currently out of luck, there are some options for Canadian passport holders. Service Canada has held about 185,000 passports since December 1st. They're available for pickup for an extra $20. But it's not just passports.
We think that all options should be in place.
While some federal benefits, including the Canada Pension Plan, are still being delivered, most provincial program checks need to be picked up. That's troubling to this advocate.
Certainly for people who have mobility issues or distance issues, it becomes a real barrier to getting what are absolutely necessary benefits for survival purposes.
Canada Post says mail stuck at distribution centers like this one will be delivered on a first-in, first-out basis when operations resume. But it adds Canadians will continue to feel the impact of the strike long after it's over. Alexander Silberman, CBC News, Regina.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. He had a privileged upbringing, an Ivy League education. Now he's an accused killer.
It's unimaginable and unfathomable, knowing the kind, person that I saw and knew.
What we know about the man suspected of a public execution. But first, some Canadian renters believe they're the victims of a price-fixing scheme, and they're banding together to take legal action.
The goal here, if we're successful, is to put money in one way, shape, or form back in tenants' pockets.
Why they believe some big landlords should be held accountable. Anya Zolojowski has been tracking the story for weeks and explains how the allegations here in Canada are linked to a government lawsuit in the U.S.
In the midst of a rental housing crisis, allegations some landlords have conspired to artificially inflate rents across Canada through their use of a controversial software called YieldStar.
I think every single landlord who has been using it should be held accountable.
If these allegations are proven in court, it's absolutely horrendous conduct.
CBC investigates as renters seek justice.
People need to really wake up and organize like we're doing.
These tenants are here to ask questions about a proposed class action lawsuit naming their landlord GWL Realty Advisors, a division of Canada Life. The suit alleges GWLRA has been part of a price-fixing scheme because of its use of YieldStar, a controversial software that has been under investigation in the U.S. for allegedly facilitating collusion between landlords. GWLRA confirmed to CBC News that it no longer uses YieldStar, but its tenants say they still want compensation. Cynthia Black is the main plaintiff in the proposed class action suit.
The stoppage of the use of YieldStar does not change the fact that the damage has already been done.
The goal here, if we're successful, is to put money in one way, shape, or form back in tenants' pockets.
GWLRA is one of 14 landlords and property management companies named in this proposed suit. Combined, these companies own and operate tens of thousands of Canadian homes. Current and former tenants called into this meeting from across Canada to speak with Adam Tennell, the lawyer behind the suit.
I don't want them to go, oh, this is AI or whatever, and then shirk your responsibility.
It's another great question. I mean, we are very much alleging intentional conduct.
This is a small group of people, but the potential impact on Canada's rental market is massive.
I can tell you this is an enormous turnout for day two, almost unprecedented in my career. I think it speaks to how severely impacted Canadians are by the housing crisis.
Tennell began looking into the use of YieldStar in Canada after an FBI investigation in the U.S.
We have some extraordinary news this morning. The FBI conducted a dawn raid, what's called algorithmic price fixing.
That probe led to a Department of Justice lawsuit against RealPage, the parent company of YieldStar.
The Justice Department, North Carolina, and several other states are now suing the company RealPage.
Filed an antitrust lawsuit, accusing it of price fixing on a national scale.
Americans should not have to pay more in rent simply because a company has found a new way to scheme with landlords to break the law.
The DOJ suit alleges the technology has allowed landlords to conspire with each other and artificially inflate rents across the U.S.
We allege that this software is developed, marketed, and sold to enable landlords to sidestep vigorous competition in the rental market.
CBC has found evidence of YieldStar being used in Canada since at least 2017. And a RealPage press release from the same year points to a Canadian pilot project that seems to lay out the benefits of using the software. Despite the fact that we ran the pilot through the slow winter months, the properties using YieldStar consistently outperformed by up to 4% in rental revenue relative to the control group. The DOJ alleges that not only is YieldStar used to inflate rents, but that landlords and property managers who subscribe to it are expected to follow suggested rental rates.
RealPage actively polices landlords' compliance with those recommendations. It also monitors landlords' other policies by, for example, trying to stop concessions that landlords use to attract or retain renters.
In a statement, RealPage told CBC News that its software was purposely built to be legally compliant and that it will vigorously defend itself. Here in Canada, Tennell has also named RealPage in the proposed class action suit and includes similar allegations. The allegations still need to be tested in court. We've reached out to all of the companies named in the suit, and we didn't hear back from all of them. Here's what we've heard so far. These three companies told CBC News they have never used the software. Caprit stated, "We have not, are not, and will never use YieldStar, and will be seeking to have this action dismissed." QuadReal told us it could not comment on a matter before the courts. Both Dream Unlimited and Choice Property Real Estate told us they have never subscribed to YieldStar, but had worked with third parties that did. They say they've since asked them to stop. Tennell says that is no defense.
Another important facet of this case is that many of the landlord defendants use property management. Our perspective, a property owner who hires a property manager that uses YieldStar, the property owner is also liable because they're one of the beneficiaries of the use of the product that we say is illegal.
Rhapsody, the property management company used by Dream, called the allegations baseless and without merit and said it will provide its defense through the litigation process. Tricon and GWLRA have both confirmed they have used the software, but Tricon says it stopped using YieldStar last summer and that its use never impacted rents. GWLRA told CBC News in October that it had stopped using the software. They did not confirm when they terminated its use. The rest did not respond to requests from CBC for comment about their alleged use of YieldStar. Tunnell says that companies that have stopped using the software are still on the hook.
Anybody who pays rent in this country knows that the rent they pay this month is tied to what the rent rate that they paid last month and last year.
Could a software like YieldStar have played a role in the housing crisis that we're seeing right now?
Well, that's absolutely what this lawsuit is about. The allegation is that YieldStar was used to artificially inflate the price of rent that Canadians pay.
It shouldn't be this hard.
Remember Cynthia, the main plaintiff? She lives in this GWLRA building in Toronto's West End. She says in 3 years, her household has faced multiple rent hikes, 7 to 11%.
It makes it impossible to do the things that you want to do for your family. And it keeps you awake at night. Where do I go? Where do I go with all the prices being that high?
Cynthia and other tenants have also been calling for an investigation from the Competition Bureau for months.
Delivering some complaints to the Competition Bureau?
Even hand-delivering over 100 complaints to the Bureau last September.
I think YieldStar and any other pricing algorithm like it should be banned. I think there should be an investigation into its use in Canada. I think every single landlord who has been using it should be held accountable for the consequences that YieldStar has had on people like me, my neighbors, and everyone across Canada who's been affected by this.
Those calls made their way to Ottawa after our initial report on this, with the Liberals facing renewed pressure to address them.
Thousands of renters are very worried their landlords could be using YieldStar software to come to agreements between themselves to raise the cost of rent. Will the Liberals defend renters and launch an inquiry so that we can know if landlords are guilty of collusion to increase rent? The practice that he's describing is completely unacceptable, Mr. Speaker. Today, I will write to the Competition Board to ask that an inquiry be undertaken.
Tunnell says this lawsuit is about financial losses suffered.
We cannot use the lawsuit to have the court ban the software. What we can do, and what we're trying to do, is to make the use of the software no longer profitable, so it's never used again.
For now, the main goal is getting money back for tenants.
This is a lawsuit about damages suffered by real people and money that folks were deprived of if they paid above market rent as a result of a non-competitive landlord atmosphere.
So, Anya, it seems like this story just keeps developing.
Yeah, so we heard from RealPage earlier today that they have filed a motion to dismiss the DOJ's civil antitrust lawsuit. We reached out to the DOJ as well, but we have not heard back yet. And Hollyburn Properties actually got back to us today, too. They are a company that was named in this proposed class action suit. And previously, they had not gotten back to us by deadline. But today, they reached out to tell us that they have never used YieldStar.
Okay, interesting. We saw in your story, this has, of course, come up in the House of Commons. So I'm curious what the update is politically.
So the NDP have been pushing the Liberal government to act on this, and they raised it again today in question period. After we first reported on this story, the Minister of Innovation, Science and Industry, François-Philippe Champagne, had committed to asking the Competition Bureau to investigate the use of YieldStar here in Canada. And we know from the Competition Bureau that it has received his request to investigate, but they did not confirm yet whether an investigation is taking place.
Okay, I know you'll be watching that. Anya, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Coming up, stunning new details emerge about the man accused of killing a health insurance CEO in New York.
Smart, well-adjusted socially. He really had everything going for him.
Former friends of Luigi Mangione react to his alleged involvement in a shocking crime. The suspected killer with a seemingly charmed life. So what might explain his alleged action outside a New York hotel?
You look for a change in their thinking, and that's what investigators will be looking for.
That's the challenge as police push to piece together a motive and his movements. Ellen Morrow digs into the fast-emerging background of Luigi Mangione after the shooting death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
Luigi Mangione, an alleged killer and subject of public fascination after days on the run, charged with the New York City murder of a healthcare insurance CEO, an industry so maligned that many Americans are celebrating the shooter as a hero.
It is very concerning because we are talking about a very cold-blooded murder.
How did it all come to this for the 26-year-old born into a life of privilege and potential?
I can tell you that this is one of the last people you'd think would do something like this. You know, he was one of the nicest kids.
It's unimaginable. You know, I was roommates with him, unfathomable, knowing the kind, person that I saw and knew.
A sign of how much has changed, this was Mangione back in 2016, valedictorian of his class at a prestigious private school in Baltimore.
As we embrace the new, however, we won't forget the old.
Former classmates say Mangione was at the top of his class and popular.
He was smart, well-adjusted socially. He was at least a two-sport athlete, from what I can remember, and he really had everything going for him.
The son of a wealthy and prominent family that made its fortune in real estate, Mangione went on to graduate with a master's degree in computer science from the University of Pennsylvania, an Ivy League school. He then took on several tech-based internships, according to what appears to be his LinkedIn page, before moving to Hawaii, where he lived in an exclusive community for remote workers.
We have an interview process because when you throw a bunch of people living together, you need to hopefully make sure they work well. He was excited about getting new people, experiencing new culture.
But at the same time, Mangione was apparently suffering with serious back issues. This social media page appearing to belong to him, displaying a spinal X-ray.
Earlier this year, I checked in with him. He confirmed that he had surgery, and he sent me the X-rays. It looked heinous with just giant screws going into his spine.
It's not clear how Mangione's own experience of the healthcare system shaped his views. Friends and family say he cut off contact around 6 months ago, his mother reportedly filing a missing persons report in San Francisco in November. And while Mangione seemed to flaunt a happy life on social media, there were hints of darkness too. In this review of the Unabomber's manifesto, Mangione said the man who terrorized the U.S. for nearly 20 years was rightfully imprisoned, but also hailed the Unabomber as an extreme political revolutionary, writing, "When all other forms of communication fail, violence is necessary to survive."
You look for a change in their thinking. So at what point did he start thinking that committing a crime like this was acceptable? And that's what investigators will be looking for. Did it date back to his college years, or did it start to evolve when he was having the back problems?
Mangione was arrested at this Pennsylvania McDonald's 5 days after the shooting, caught on camera eating a hash brown before police swooped in. He was carrying, police say, a 3D printed, untraceable gun and a handwritten manifesto of his own. Criticizing United Healthcare, the insurance company run by Brian Thompson, the victim of the attack, reportedly accusing the company of continuing to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it. Anger at the health insurance industry exploded onto social media after the shooting, turning the alleged gunman to many into a kind of idol.
Contestant number 3.
Consider this look-alike contest in New York City just days later. There's a slew of posts online fawning over Mangione's looks, and on his now deleted Instagram page, comments like, "You are a national hero, and when you get free, do it again."
We do not kill people in cold blood
to resolve policy differences. This killer is being hailed as a hero. Hear me on this. He is no hero.
Going into court a day after his arrest, Mangione had an angry, though unclear, message. Along with murder, Mangione is facing a series of other charges, including unlawful possession of a firearm, a life that seemed full of promise, now facing a possible life behind bars.
Ellen Morrow for us tonight. As we showed you earlier in the show, Luigi Mangione is fighting extradition to New York State. Experts say it's an uphill battle to convince a court not to order it. His next scheduled appearance is December 23rd. Now to another story in the works. Dissidents from countries like Iran and China came to Canada for safety, only to realize the threats they thought they'd left behind have followed them here. Here's a taste of what we're working on.
New reaction to an alleged Iranian-backed plot to assassinate former Canadian Justice Minister Irwin
The
Cotler.
RCMP told Cotler last month of an Iranian plot to kill him within
When news
48
broke
hours.
that Canada's former Justice Minister was the target of an assassination plot by Iran,
I was under imminent and lethal threat.
Irwin Cotler deflected from his story to make it clear he's not alone and he's worried.
The targeting of dissidents and journalists and human rights defenders.
He's worried about people who came here to be safe, only to be suddenly stalked by the repressive regimes they left behind. Do you think now that you're safe in Canada?
I feel sometimes when, a car behind us, I feel I'm not safe.
It feels like everything we do are being watched.
Turns out the worry is building. I'll bring you the full story on Wednesday right here on The National. Next, a school on PEI honors its beloved principal.
Sweaters are coming off, and I see this picture on the front.
The surprise ceremony in our moment. So that is John Munro, the principal at Belfast Consolidated School on PEI, looking pretty happy after winning the most distinguished principal award for the whole province. So his school decided to honor him in a big congratulatory ceremony full of cheers and specially designed T-shirts. And so tonight, Mr. Munro's moment of recognition makes our moment.
We had a regularly scheduled assembly, and at the end of the ceremony, it was then switched to congratulations, I have won the Principal of the Year, Distinguished Principal of the Year for Prince Edward Island.
And I try my best every day for everyone. And it really does mean a lot. I'm sorry I'm so emotional.
It was completely unexpected. All of a sudden, the sweaters are coming off, and I see this picture on the front, and all I could do was laugh. I just thought, what? It was just such a nice touch. We always have an ugly shirt day, that this shirt could be worn for ugly shirt day on top of our green and white shirt days. I know every student by name. I've been there for 14 years, so I know a lot of the families. In 2017, 5 schools were slated to close in PEI. And Belfast was one of those schools. Ultimately, the government decided not to close our school. I love coming to work every day. I feel like my staff really enjoy coming to work, and the students have smiles coming off the bus, and at the end of the day, they have smiles coming on the bus. So that's really what education is all about.
There is nothing like a good teacher. So here's a sample of how interesting he is. At some point, some kids were getting in trouble, were told, you have to go have lunch with the principal. There's your punishment. But other students got jealous and kind of wanted their turn to have lunch with the principal, so it sort of became a bit of a thing. From all of us at The National, congratulations. Thank you for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to The National's YouTube channel. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.